lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is. The trash seeker
What a sick joke. Asking us to seek the Lords of Cinder and return them to their mouldering thrones. We're talking true legends, those who would link the fire. We're not fit to lick their boots.
Prince Lothric is in your hands. Please save his soul. Tell him what he must be, a lord.
Oh dear. Another dogged contender. This spot marks our grave, but you may rest here too, if you like.
'Tis only the flame quivering at misguided ash. Please avert thine eyes. I will snuff out these ashes for good.
Ashen One, link the fire. For the lords of Cinder, for the ashen prisoners, for all those held to preserve the fire. Link the first flame.
You know, ever since I started playing Dark Souls, I've always liked using the Ultra Great Sword. Now hearing that, you probably think I'm those people on Reddit screaming that they beat a boss pre-nerf the pinto second that a boss gets a 1% HP. But now I've decided to realize the inner British lad in myself and ask the question, can you beat Dark Souls with only daggers? Now, I know, Kelvin, the answer is yes, obviously. But my real question is how they affect gameplay, like fighting bosses and other enemies, and going into the strengths and weaknesses of each dagger. So get ready for a crash course on daggers in Dark Souls 3. The rules are simple. Damage that I inflict on an enemy must be done with a dagger. No shield may be used for defending to be more in style, but putting one in your back to get the effects is okay. Now what I'm going to say to you might sound crazy, but after much deliberation, I decided to pick the Thief's class with the Bandit's Dagger and name myself Stabby Stabby. Because by the end of this run, that's all I'm going to be thinking about. And thankfully we had the perfect test subject to see the dagger's capabilities. The dagger has low damage and weight compared to others, with daggers mainly using status effects or attacking really fast to keep up with other weapons, such as if you hit an enemy with the bandit dagger enough, it will cause bleed, which when procced will do 15% of the enemy's max HP and do a flat damage depending on the weapon used. And with this status effect, we absolutely shred through it Exgundir, like, Jesus Christ bro, are you okay? Which makes him the first to fall to Stabby Stabby. Or is it the second, because we fight Champion Gundir in the past. I then went and mainly put my levels into health and dexterity so we can deal more and take more damage. Also, side note, the bleed buildup in this game is based off luck for some reason. Don't ask me why or how that works. I then talked to the Shrine Handmaiden to buy our second dagger named Dagger. It won't be replacing our main Bandit's Knife because it lacks the damage and bleed, but it does have the highest crit in the game, so maybe it'll be useful for something later on. I then did the tree skip to get the coveted Silver Serpent Ring for more souls, and then teleported to the high wall of Lothric. Something I had noticed while going through Lothric with daggers is that you sort of become a mini blender with your high attack speed and bleed. The enemies just kind of die once you start a combo on them. So I go around collecting Titanite shards and stab my way to Vort. Now Vort reveals the biggest weakness of the dagger, and that is its stamina consumption, because if you look at it, it ain't pretty. Now there are certain items and other ways you can mitigate the problem, but for now the best thing we can do is take a breather and continue stabbing And that leads us to the end of Vort. I then upgraded my bandit stat to +1, remembered that I won't be using spells, so I allocate all my S's to healing. I then raised the banner and arrive at the undead settlement, or I like to call it Bum Valley. I go through Bum Valley, going into back alleys, shanking people, you know, just your normal Tuesday, and I did that all the way until I got to the Cursed Rotted Graveyard. Now this fight wasn't too bad. Thanks to the fast attack speed of the dagger, we can blitz through the cyst all over his body. But the dagger does have short range, so we're basically planting our face into his chest. But that's why I upgraded his health, so Greatwood down. After that, I went and upgraded my flask so it doesn't feel like I have to use the flask 10 times to get a full health. Heading back, there's actually a dagger you can get here called the Harp. It can be dropped by an enemy holding it for a 2% drop rate. Man, sure hope that all daggers in this game aren't locked behind needless farming of enemies. Look, I tried to get it. I really did. I farmed for this thing for 40 minutes, but it just wouldn't drop. So we will come back later. I then used the souls that I got from exterminating 10 generations of Hollow to upgrade Vigor, Endurance, and Dexterity to get the best of all worlds. I then fought a demon with the Onion Knight and went and grabbed the Flint Ring. Since we will be wearing light armor, the damage increase will be nice, and the Chlorantine Ring to offset the amount of times I had to spend idling in a boss fight. I went to the beginning of the Road of Sacrifice, which is the location of our next big dagger. We kill Man-Eater Mildred, and after her is our prize, the Brigand Twin Dagger. Now, the stats may seem less than ideal now, like Jesus, you can't even wield the damn thing, but once upgraded, it can bring out insane damage. So, you know, hope that comes soon. Now, we can't leave just yet, since we have business with the Corvia, because believe it or not, these Maximum Ride lookalikes actually have a dagger for me, with a 2% drop rate. Excuse me, will you? After an entire afternoon, we finally got the Corvian Great Knife. This dagger has a lot higher physical damage and a lot bigger reach than the base daggers, so you no longer have to be in makeout distance to damage people. But they're also having the skill Blind Spot, which can damage people through shields, which is the dagger's one weakness. Aside from, you know, the stamina issue. And after upgrades to our flask, I felt that I was ready to start stabbing some magic. The Crystal Sage was the first light challenge in the run. The first phase of the boss was simple since it was basically just whacking at an inanimate object, but second phase brought some challenges. And I kinda underestimated how much it hurts to have an arrow made out of crystals crash into your body. You know, you live and you learn. All I had to do was get rid of his clones, and that left them pretty defenseless. Crystal Sage down. Another point for the stab gang. Now, you think I put more souls in the dexterity, but nope, 2 in the strength. Truly, my finest intellectual genius. Then after getting bitten by a legion of dogs, why have you forsaken us, Miyazaki? Before going into the actual cathedral, I decided to go to the lower parts just to grab some materials, enough to get my bandage dagger to +2. Look, okay, I know I said upgrade Brigand's dagger, but I forgot to do so just stay with me for a bit. Not much happened in the actual cathedral. Got curb stomped by a giant, thanks to Dark Souls, picked up the Dragon Step for some amazing drip I'll be wearing later, which finally leads us to us fighting the Anime Club. Now, Deacons did bring their own unique challenge. Since I have to be so close to them and the fact that I'm wearing light armor, I'm constantly getting stunned by a group of enemies, add on the fact that I'm getting burned every 0.2 seconds. And when the main pontiff comes out, I come to realize the dagger's true potential, running behind someone and stabbing them. You know, as you do. After doing that 2 times, pontiff goes down. Also, for some reason I got Estes back while fighting him. I don't know how that happened. I used the souls and bought the tower key to go and meet Patches.
Be more careful. By the gods, curiosity is gonna kill you, kittens.
You are so lucky that you give a dagger. Otherwise, I would have you looking like Swiss cheese. After that, stabbed the homeless man. Dang, that's the second time I mentioned that. Went and talked to Patches and bought the parrying dagger. Since we can't use the shield, the only way for us to parry is with this dagger. It has average parrying frames, making it decent. It will be a nice thing to have if you want to do massive damage to something. I like this. I upgraded my flask and then went to Fair and Keep. Yay! I love poison areas. Oh, and with enemies that swing faster than a flash, oh, just my favorite. Luckily, Dagger's main skill is Quick Step, and it's great for this area since you won't get slowed down by poison. So after going through all the fire towers, I was just about to leave, but wait, honey, it's time to farm for another Dagger with a 2% drop rate. Finally, we got it. Rotten Grew Dagger, with the main thing setting it apart from other daggers is that it has poison status. Wow! A dagger that does poison buildup? Sure would suck if 90% of bosses in this game were immune to poison. Right? Why do I do this to myself? Anyways, I used the souls from nuking the entirety of Fair and Keep, putting points into endurance and dexterity, and made my banded dagger +3. We then grabbed the Dream Cage's ashes for infinite Titanite shards, and then fought the Stone Demon. Not much happened, just stabbed it till it died. I should put that on a poster. Grabbed some more materials to improve my weapon's ability to stab people, and realized that daggers aren't the best weapons to use on enemies built like tanks. I cut my losses and ran past them, and got the Farron Coil. This should allow me to put the Sharp Infusion on my weapon. Too bad I don't think of this till later! I went back and used the infinite Titanite shard to finally upgrade the Brigand Twin Dagger. And with that, we are finally able to take on the Abyss Watchers. Man, coming back to this boss after years, it gives off the same intensity as when I first fought it. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, how I brutally stabbed the boss to death. Luckily, the boss can be staggered easily, so he falls victim to the dagger blender, but he can only be staggered for so long before he'll just power through your attacks. So learning how many hits you'll allow before you have to back off is a challenge. Also, the fact that I haven't fought this boss in about 4 years makes it less than ideal. But with some patience, like more than you would think, Abyss Watchers go down. I then go to the sewer area, but skeletons. While picking up upgrade materials on the way, and also grab the Carthus Milk Ring. Did you know that this ring increases dexterity by 3 and makes you less visible to enemies? It would be cool if I decided to never use it! This is why you do resets before you do challenge runs. Anyway, we finally make it to High Lord Wolnir. And immediately forget how much damage the fog does. Okay, repeat that. Thanks to the fast attacks of the Brigand Twin Dagger, we were able to blitz through the Skeleton King's health. No, please, don't send me back to the friggin' outskirts. No! Wonder what that guy was screaming about. Anyways, we take the ladder down and arrive at the Smoldering Lake. Now this place is a gold mine for upgrade materials, so I take the time to go around and collect them all, which brings my weapon to +6. I then killed maybe Solaire, and then fought the old Demon King. Fighting him was sort of a learning curve, because I had to deal with all his shockwaves and the fact that I forgot about his final explosion about 5 times. But staying under him and dodging when he swings his mallet, and you're fine. Old Demon King down. I use the souls from the boss to increase my health so I feel less like a napkin, and then I head to Ithriel. I scream with the dog outside, bad dog, bad! And once dead, he drops the Pontus right eye, a ring that increases my damage with consecutive hits, which is perfect for my build, and absolutely brings us one step closer to being a living blender. For the most part, not much else happened. I grabbed the blood jab, set it up on— oh my god, I forgot about the grass crush shield! Get away from me, crabs! Got it. This shield will give us a passive increase to our stamina recovery. While I can't use it, remember, I'm allowed to put shields on my back for the effects. This shield was the main reason I made this rule. So I travel back to Ithriel, curse Miyazaki for creating dogs, and fight the Pontiff Sullivan. Now Pontiff, super hard boss with never-ending combos, but his biggest weakness is that he can be parried. And guess who got themselves something that can parry him? So I decided to mainly beat Pontiff using parries and riposte. It's easier said than done, but parrying Pontiff is at the same time not as bad as I remembered, and with some practice, relearning the patterns, and some good help from Pontiff, the friendly neighborhood ghost, Pontiff Sullivan goes down. Man, aren't I so good at this game? After increasing my health, I made my way to Anar Londo. This game is easy. Nothing can stop me. Okay, maybe I'll skip these guys. After trying to kill a huge spider, I made it to Aldrich, Devourer of Gods. The first attempt didn't go too well, like, damn, how did I let that hit me? But the second one went much smoother. The tech to this fight is to always stay close. A way you can do this is by every time he teleports, start running in the opposite direction of where he was, and you'll catch him in the teleport, allowing you to not have to deal with his annoying magic attacks. So yeah, slug monster down. After reminiscing on something long gone, I then used the souls to increase my health and dexterity. And I feel that defeating 2 Lord Souls deserves an upgrade to my drip. Ooh. Yeah! Now we look like a real stabbing professional. Let's just sit out in Ithrio dungeon. Yippee! Oh my god, what are you? Get away from me! What is that? Get me out of here! Made it to Profane Capital. Using the materials I got on the way, I made my Brigand Twin Dagger +7 and upgraded my healing. And wait, do I smell that? Like, it smells like a nerf dagger. But it has a 4%? Okay, this shouldn't be bad. What species am I going to exterminate this time? Oh god, what is that? Oh, get it away from me! Why do you look like that? Kill it, kill it, kill it! Kill it with fire! Oh! It dropped. That was fast. It dropped the Tailbone Short Sword, which has high base damage and even has a cool weapon art called Unleashed Dragon, where you shoot a projectile in front of you. So if you want a ranged dagger, here you go! I head back to Profane Capital because there's another dagger you have to farm from these maids. I even grabbed the Mimic Head to make the farm easier. There we go. Also, disregard the message you saw. Everything is fine. No worries here. So here is the Handmaid's Dagger. It's not that good with low base damage, not a very good critical, so it's better you choose any other dagger. You know, this challenge is actually going pretty well. I feel like nothing can stop me. Oh, well, this is going to be a problem. So this fight is a gimmick fight, with what you're supposed to do is use the Storm Ruler to absolutely demolish this guy's health. But the Storm Ruler isn't a dagger, so yeah. For the fight, I actually went and transposed for Soul so I could get the Pontus Right Eye, which gives you 30 health with consecutive hits. It helped a bit. You know what's even worse about this fight? Is the fact that the daggers can't make it through the entire fight before they become in risk. So you have to use repair powders mid-fight to fix your weapons. But luckily, he has simple attacks, so as long as I don't do anything risky. Okay, what about Bleed? Bleed takes chunks out of people's health, so as long as we use that, we could probably blitz some death. Okay, then what about Poison? We have a poison weapon, we could probably do passive damage as we fight him. Happy that your entire kingdom got incinerated. I know if you were in real life you would be a clerk at McDonald's. Make sure my fries are hot and ready, you bum! But finally, after a while, Yorm goes down. The true expression of death by 1,000 cuts. Or maybe 1,000,000 cuts. And now, we're in the endgame. I head back to Andre and finally decided to give my Brigand Twin Dagger the Sharp Infusion, making them mainly scale off dexterity, and went and fought the dancers. She never really gives me too much trouble, and she didn't really give me much trouble on this run either. Not until her second phase, but with some last minute remembering of her patterns, she goes down. I then decide to go to the Consumed King's Garden and take out Osiris. The first phase is easy since it only consists of very telegraphed swings, the second phase is a bit more challenging. Just a bit. But I contribute a lot of my deaths to me being a meathead trying to just blitz his health bar, which actually works. Yeah, who needs to actually think of a strategy? Just go in and stab and everything will work out. I then grab the Path of the Dragon emote and go to the unattended graves. I actually have a fun little theory. Maybe these crows can actually see the future and he's just telling the story that we're currently going on right now. It could be really cool. It can add a lot of depth to the characters of this world. Well, one can only speculate. I then take on Champion Gundyr. Now I tried to do the same thing I did to Pontiff and beat him mainly using parries. With how easy he is to parry, this should go well. Oh, sorry, you just caught me in the midst of making a +5 Chaos Dagger. It didn't help. Maybe making my dagger +8 will help. But after a minute of learning the boss's moves, I finally gained Ultra Instinct and put Champion Gundyr down for our first boss kill. Then, I grabbed the Fire Creeper eyes and gave them to the Shrine Maid. My wife! My wife! Alright, time for Lothric Castle, filled with upgrade materials, dragons, and poor people! Ugh. There was so much materials that it got me to +9, and then I strolled up to the Dragon Slayer armor like he owed me money, when in reality, he resented my tab and made it so that I owed him, and he made sure to make me pay back with interest. It's not the damage, we could absolutely shred through this guy, it's just getting used to his moveset again, and once that happens, there's not much he can do to stop me. Dragon Slayer armor? No! Look man, I wanted to add some variety to it. I go to the Magic Academy, flip the lever, and guess what? I bet you can! I farm for another dagger! And got it. It's called the Scholar's Candlestick, and not only can you use it as a dagger, it can cast spells, which we can't use. Oh, and there was another dagger that I missed called the Mailbreaker. Nothing much to say about it. I then grabbed the Titanite slab to make my dagger +10, reaching its full stabbing potential. Now, time to show these bosses what we're made of. I think there's a couple brothers who will be a great test subject. Okay, maybe not. Lorian's attacks really fast and doesn't give a lot of time to heal. Luckily when you dodge the attacks, he gives a huge window to cut him down. More so with his second phase since you can damage Lothric while he's on his back, leading to me one-cycling the boss. GG, too easy. Well, time to take on the last few bosses of the base game. And what better thing to stab than a dragon? We raced our way through and fought the Ancient Wyvern. Thank God the dagger has a plunging attack so we won't be stuck in another Yorm situation. That prick. But I do miss it. Somehow. But we get it on the next try. One good stab is all you need. Not much happened in the area. Got demolished by some roly-polies. Tried to fight the dragon. Nope. And finally, we're at the Nameless King. And you know what? He wasn't all that bad. Okay, sure, his dragon at the beginning did cause me some problems. But that's because daggers have really short ranges. Like, seriously, go and fight this boss, it'll make you feel like you're fighting him with a toothpick. Like, the amount of times that I would try to swing at his head and I'll just straight up miss because of my short range just actually made me want to maul. But anyway, back to the actual Nameless King. The only real problem with him is that he does a lot of damage, with him only having like 1, 2, maybe 3 swings in a combo. I mean, apart from me getting stuck at the beginning of the fog wall, like seriously, how does this happen? This wasn't all that bad. I feel like Nameless King got the worst of the power creep, with him going from a force of nature that had everyone quaking in their boots, just another boss. Nameless King down. I made sure to grab the Titanite slab and made my way to the DLC. Jesus Christ, why are there so many wolves? Other than that, nothing much happened. So we just stab. Well, this is gonna be a problem. Yeah, remember when I told you that one of the dagger's weaknesses is shields? Yeah, this is the first boss that actually decides to use that weakness against us. Since his shield is up and daggers have no way to really go through them, attacks just kind of bounce right off of him, leaving us open for retaliation. But there is a secret weapon that I've chosen to reveal now, and definitely not because I forgot I could do this. The kick. When used, it will bat away his shield and allow us to get a repose, and since the kick does no damage, it's completely legal! Oh, I forgot about the wolf. So the best strat is to hope I can blitz the Grave Tender before the wolf shows up, and once that is done, it's just a 1v1. And honestly, I should give this fight more credit. With the way the wolf attacks and the music, makes the fight a lot more enjoyable than I thought before. Good fight, Grave Tender down.
But thy duty is all, and thy duty lieth elsewhere.
Sorry, ma'am. I'm on a mission. A mission to show people that size doesn't matter. I then go through the village, get stabbed by a crow. Touche. And made it to Sir Wilhelm. And a few back shots. A few back shots later. After watching the entirety of my One Piece collection get pulverized by an elevator, I swing by the painter, make it through the rest of the area. God, I hate flies. After pulling the lever, it's time for another challenge.
Sweep all thought of us from thy mind, as thy kind always have.
I'm sorry, but there's an old man that needs stabbing. And now, time for the great, exhilarating, awesome, amazing, absolutely stupendous Sister Frida Fun! Oh. Excuse me for a moment. Alright, now it's time for the fight. Thankfully Frida has many attacks so you can go behind her and give her a backstab. Second phase isn't any worse, just watch out for Frida's ranged attacks and make sure not to get hit by a flaming cauldron. But we all know, when the ash is two, a flame will lighten. Man, that quote goes so hard, especially with the surprise third phase. I mean, like, did you know that, like, Fronto had, like, 0 3-phase fights before this one? This must have been such a surprise to, like, all players, especially me. Like, it was also sucked because, like, you know, you also had the realization that you had to do the entire thing over again, but you know, I digress. But most of this phase was just running, dodging her attacks, waiting for a moment when I can strike, and she gives those moments in plenty. After a very patient fight, Frida goes down. We then head straight for the drug heap, immediately going to the next dagger called the Aquarium Dagger, which does magic damage and has intelligent scaling. Sadly, we are too stupid to wield this, so we'll just leave it at Dagger No Stab Good. We go through the rest of the area, grabbing the Ring of Steel Protection +3, getting shot down by a machine gun in the sky. That went down into the is that a DS2 reference? Watching an NPC walk in poison for a couple minutes. I did this to think if they had poison immunity. It looks like they do. And made it to the bonfire. Not thinking back on that, that probably makes the raw and brew dagger even worse. But before we fight the peak of gang fights, we got some housekeeping to do. I actually forgot a dagger back in the undead settlement called the Harp. Nothing really to say, and then in preparation for the boss, I made my Bayonet dagger +10 and gave it a blood infusion, increasing its bleed. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because my absolute goat, better than Ornstein and Smo, Demon Gank Fight is weak to bleed. And I want to mix things up. Look, okay, I could easily kill this with Brigand Twin Dagger, but I want to make this video kind of interesting. And how did it work? Well, it was something. Now the daggers was putting in work. Those are definitely bleed procs. And getting close to them is no problem since the erased one wants to catch all the smoke. I made sure to kill the demon from below last because I have an easier time with his moveset, since he doesn't move around much and he only does through the fireball, so just wait till he shoots his laser and mow him down. Demon Gank down. Peak Demon Gank, actually. After going on the Demon Airlines, the snacks suck on here. We land in the most confusing lore part of Dark Souls 3, the Ring City. No, like seriously, what is happening here? I was sentenced to execution by firing squad, met with someone we'll meet later, and rest at the bonfire. Now that we're in the late game, everything should be fine. Please, no, please let me talk to her! Pass through a swamp and oh, this part. Now this shouldn't be too, no, what are you doing? Oh, so that's how it's going to be. I make it to the base of the fire lane and finally meet with Midir. Hey man, how's it hanging? Sure would be a shame if someone came around and gave you 5 million paper cuts on your hand. Something tells me you didn't appreciate it that much. We then go and grab the Chloranthy Ring +3 for maximum stamina recovery. Oh yeah? Tell me you can stick this dagger right up his... Anyways, Half-Life. This fight sucked bad. Like, really bad. That guy countered my entire kit. Remember when I told you there was another boss that did that? This is that boss. He has a shield to block my attacks, not to mention that he can parry with it. Weapon art that has 0 downtime, so you want to punish it for missing an attack. Oops, sorry, he can just hit you with another. Also, 2 Painter Guardians are summoned throughout the fight, so have fun dealing with that. The best way I've thought of to deal with him is to wait till his bow fades and kind of just mow him down then. And, you know, looking back on it, I could probably have switch to a myriad of other daggers that I had, but like a 2 out of 10 Spider-Man that won't switch, I decided to stay on. But after a lot of patience, and I mean a lot of patience, Half-Life goes down. Also, cool side note, while I was doing attempts, I got a player boss named Wee Woo. He was cool. He waited for me to kill the painting guardians. He also demolished me like twice in a row. But if you're watching this, thanks man, you were pretty cool. Now, time for Madeira. Man, that fall gives me huge DS2 vibe. But overall, not too bad. It was just learning all the moves again, and they're all pretty simple. See what I mean? The Elden Ring DLC broke me so hard, now everything else seems easier in comparison. Also, I got this sick repost on him. Cool. Meteor down. I then run up the stairs to touch Fillionar's egg. Do you have time to talk about our Lord and Savior, the Dagger? Getting teleported, we are now faced with our second to last challenge, Gale. And his health bar is, just a bit healthy. But with our knowledge, this boss shouldn't be too hard, right? But there isn't much I can say. There's no secret dagger that just one-shots him. He's just a simple get good boss. And that's what I do. I learn the patterns and that gets us to phase 2. He moves around more sporadically, but it's nothing I haven't seen before. Oh god damn it. But after some careful dodging and rediscovering why I love this boss so much, Gale goes down. Huh, I can't believe it. I'm at the end. What is this feeling? Is this the feeling of a monumental task or a dream you always wanted to achieve finally coming to fruition? It feels good. And to put the final ball in it, let's end with the Soul of Cinder. And he's already dead! Huh, thought that would have been harder. I mean, the guy switched to magic and it was just kind of over for him. But anyways, I summon my wife and allow her to plunge this world into darkness. And that is Dark Souls 3 beaten with only daggers. A nice little run to start off my first challenge video. Seeing as how using daggers completely changed the way I approach some fights was really interesting, and I hope I can have more interesting runs in the future. So comment down below what other challenges you want me to do, and I'll see if you guys make any good suggestions. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, and you know, that whole YouTuber spiel. And I really do appreciate you watching this video. You could have watched like so many other people, but you coming to my little humble channel, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching the video, and have a nice day.